Hello, welcome to Transformation Talk. I'm Tom Rodriguez. Today I want to talk about meditation and journaling. Meditation is something I've done for a while, but journaling is something I just recently started. I received this wonderful gift for my graduation from a wonderful woman I'm seeing right now, and I started using it in my recent trip to New Hampshire. This trip was amazing, in which I had some really profound realizations about why my behavior and my feelings were as they are now. So I just want to read an entry that I wrote to well give an example in terms of the type of realizations that you can receive from quieting your mind. Now this is obviously I've been meditating for a long time. This is not something you get right away. This is something that it takes a lot of practice, not the skill of meditation, not sitting in lotus, not practicing, the like you would practice hitting a baseball or hitting a golf ball. Practice in terms of cultivating a mind state, cultivating a being state, which is open to thoughts and ideas that are uncomfortable, and instead of turning on the TV or turning up the music or trying to run away from these anxious thoughts, meditating on them. That is one of the traits of the Lojong principles of meditation, is that whatever makes you uncomfortable, whatever that you resent, something that makes you angry, meditate on it and sit with it and play with it and don't run away from it. So it takes a lot of time, a lot of meditations doing stuff like that. So, this is just something that I realize that I want to share with everybody who wants to watch this, whether it's one person or a million people. I just want to share and hope that it gives some motivation to some of you, not to go out and try to sit down in lotus today, but maybe just take some time to not run away from those anxieties that we have, and to instead sit with that what makes us anxious, so that we can start to do that work that has to be done to really cure ourselves. Go to the cause of what's hurting us, not just run away from the symptoms, not just to, well, I'm sad, I'm going to drink, or I'm going to go on vacation, I'm going to go do this and this because I feel sad, or I feel anxious, or I feel lonely. It's, to me, much more wise to sit with that feeling and figure out why we're feeling that. What's the cause of that feeling, so that we can find peace wherever we are, whenever it is, whatever's going on. We can find peace when we deal with those issues. So it's a quick entry. When I saw him in his casket, I shut down. I could not bear the pain. I buried my true self away to protect myself from pain. I hid away deep within my heart and closed my heart so I would be safe from harm. Today, meaning 5/25, or about a week ago or so, I found that scared little boy. I was 7 years old when my grandfather died. This is what realization was. I wrote it pretty quickly when I did this. I opened my heart and freed myself from my prison. I'm no longer afraid. I feel safe and supported. So when I wrote that and I felt that, it was just, my whole vision was different. Everything felt different. Because up until that time, I had this gigantic, this always had, not always, I've obviously been much happier the past couple of years, but there's always been still that anxiety and fear and doubt that's been in there whenever something good is happening. Like, this isn't going to last, or what if this happens, what if this happens, what if that happens, what if this happens. And I realized that part of that was something that happened when I was a young child, which obviously anybody who's been to therapy, anybody who's involved with psychology and is aware of these things know that most of the things that we have today, that the burdens we carry up with us today, come from our childhood. So it wasn't a surprise to realize that when my grandfather died when I was 7, and I go back to his funeral, and I remember seeing my grandfather in his casket, the first time I really dealt with death, that it just didn't sit with me. I couldn't understand it. There was so much pain and confusion, and that did lead to therapy when I was a child. Then it led to a lot of nights of anxiety and not being able to sleep. But I never dealt with it. I went to therapy, but I didn't continue it for very long, and I think what I got out of it was therapists telling me that I don't have to have this burden of carrying people around. I felt this need to be somebody then, to have to be strong for everybody else, and I remember my therapist telling me that I didn't have to do that, which was great. I'm sure that she helped me then kind of live my life in a typical regular way without laying awake at night and crying about my parents dying, and which was good, but I never really understood what exactly happened then. So when I realized that at that moment I had closed my heart to pain, I didn't want to feel it. I wanted to avoid that feeling of such immense pain and confusion that I cried. I was in New Hampshire, and I just cried there, staying at Lake Winnipesaukee, a lake that I had been to many times as a child, and it was an amazing moment that I just wanted to share with all you out there who is watching. And this is why I do what I do. Why do we meditate? Why do I meditate? Why do I do yoga? Why I support people think it's, and I thought the same thing too, that you're just sitting there. A lot of people might be thinking that with meditation, you're just sitting there breathing. It's not productive. It's not progress. You're not doing something. You're not out there working and paying bills. What are you really doing? And that is the work that I was doing for myself. No, that didn't make me any money that day. No, I wasn't, contributing to society. I wasn't working out, wasn't burning calories, to many people, and I don't blame you, you might think it's something that really isn't important to do, but if you have any anxiety in your life and you're wondering why, and you just can't figure it out, and no matter what you do, no matter where you go, no matter, what it is you try to fill that void, you can't fill it, it's not because something's wrong with you. It's not because you're uncurable. It's because you haven't emptied that space to let those answers come within you, to let that void be full, be filled, to really untie the knots that we tied so tightly without our lives. That's why the practice to me is vital, because I myself benefited from it in that way. And I know many people tell me all the time, say I can't meditate, I try and sit and meditate, I can't do it. And they get frustrated and they stop. Imagine if you were a child and when you couldn't walk the first couple of times, you just said, screw it, I'm going to crawl. The rest of my life I'm going to crawl because this walking thing's just way too hard. That's what I think of when people tell me that. Because meditation, to me, is it's as vital as walking and breathing. It's connecting with who you really are. And until you do that, we're always going to be depressed and confused and anxious and not know why we're here, not know our purpose, because we're just barreling forward, never stopping. Just breathe. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. I do thank you for watching longer than it usually is, but Namaste.